In our country, Kenya, age gap is not new. We've seen them all in the news for a very long time. We've seen university girls marrying older businessmen. We've seen young men marrying women established in career and influence. We've seen politicians with wives who are half their ages. We've seen widows remarrying younger men. We've seen divorcees finding love across generations. It happens a lot in our society. It happens in our estates. It happens quietly in our churches. But we rarely discuss it deeply. We either celebrate it emotionally or even condemn it secretly in our houses or even condemn it religiously. But we do not evaluate it wisely. Because age gap relationships confront something deep in the society. Something deep. It confronts our own fears, personal fears, familial fears, societal fears. It confronts our insecurities, our generational beliefs, and even our hidden desires. But I'm not here to judge anyone. In fact, I don't even know how to judge. I don't judge. I don't know how to judge. People always ask that, is it biblical for a young man to marry an older woman? Is it okay for a young lady to marry a man old enough to be her father? And the truth may shock you. The truth may shock you. The truth will shock you. The Bible is silent. In fact, there's no commandment, no verse that says that thou shalt not marry someone 20 years older than you. But this is the truth. Silence in Scripture is not permission for foolishness. Silence means you must operate by wisdom and not law. See, there are things God regulates by commandments, and there are also all other things that God regulates by consciousness, by your conscience. And marriage falls into both. Most people choose relationship by what they experience now, and very few by what they foresee later in life. And this is where wisdom should come in. This is where wisdom reigns. See, many people do not enter wrong marriages. They enter marriages without projection, without projecting their futures. Now, there's something I like to call, and please allow me to call it the Tower Principle. It's something I just came up with from this. What Jesus said that, if you remember what Jesus said, that to each of you intending to build a tower does not sit down first and calculate the cost or even count the cost. In the book of Luke chapter 14, verse 28. Luke chapter 14, verse 28. Yeah, 14:28, exactly. Now, marriage is not a wedding day. Marriage is not a wedding day. Marriage is like a tower. And we know that a tower must survive storms, economic shifts, hormonal changes, midlife crisis, even career transitions. Marriage must survive aging, sicknesses, even sometimes death. So when we as a Kenya, as a country, debate age gap, the question should be, was the tower calculated? Did you calculate the cost of the tower? Age gap is not automatically wrong. It is not automatically wrong. Get me right. But extreme age gap demands extreme discernment. Extreme age gap demands extreme foresight. Because when seasons are too far apart, then love can gradually turn into adjustments, into resentments. It can turn into caretaking imbalance. where for instance, where an older spouse, maybe 74 years, has to be taken care of by the younger spouse who maybe should be in the 30s. Now, that is what we call caretaking balance. It may result into sexual frustrations or even emotional loneliness because of what you call generational gap. Now, and nobody posts that on Instagram or even on social media, on Facebook. Nobody posts such experiences. So my thought process is there are two very different ways that human beings choose relationships. One way is by experience, and the other way is by what I could call insight. Now, one way that is from experience chooses what feels good now. And the other way, that is insight, chooses by what will still make sense later in life when you grow old together. So most people choose love the same way this is it. Most people choose love the same way they choose food. By taste, by appetite, what is appetizing now, by their cravings, by their emotions, even by attraction. See, the second way, that is by insight, chooses in a way that is much deeper, because it chooses by pattern, by discernment, by season, by direction, by character, or even by capacity, intuition, timing, or even trajectory. Now it asks questions like this, that where is this person going in life? That what kind of person will they be in 10 or even 15 years? What kind of partner will they be in their weaknesses, in old age, in crisis, in loss, in moments of spiritual dryness? See, this way of choosing does not fall in love with a moment. It falls in love with future, with permanence. And this is where age gap becomes very critical, because attraction can ignore time, but destiny cannot ignore time. You can feel deeply connected with someone from a different generation. That's very tough one. But connection does not equate to alignment. You can have chemistry with someone. It's very normal. It happens most of the time. But chemistry does not equal shared season. You can love someone, but love does not automatically create synchronized lives. See, one way of choosing asks this, that how do I feel with you? And the other way asks that how will I feel with you? See, the other way, so that one chooses by vision, the other one chooses by emotion. So in our society, stability is attractive. A young lady raised in economic struggles, for instance, may see an older rich man and feel safe around him. Not just romantically safe, but financially safe, even emotionally safe, even socially elevated. He has, because the man has a house, has a car, has influence, has a network, has an unestablished name, has experience of life. Now, to her nervous system, that feels like protection. And protection is powerful, we must agree with that. But sometimes, what feels like protection is actually dependence, and dependence is bad. Because if you choose someone mainly for stability, then you must ask yourself that when I become stable too, will we still be equals? Yeah. Now, let's talk about the older partner now. See, an older man with a much younger woman doesn't just feel loved. He feels rejuvenated. He feels relevant. He feels admired. He feels validated in the society. He feels powerful again. He feels younger again. And admiration can be intoxicating. But admiration is not intimacy. Because one feeds ego, the other builds a partnership. So which way do you want to go? Ego, partnership. Likewise, an older woman with a younger man may feel desired. May feel desired in a way that society told her she should be. She shouldn't be. She feels chosen. She feels validated. She feels seen. She feels relevant to the moment. She feels celebrated. And that can heal wounds. But healed wounds must be genuine, not patched with romance. Now, allow me to go deeper. In Kenya, many grew up with absentee fathers, with emotionally unavailable fathers, with strict and affectionate fathers, with overworked parents, with burdened poor parents, with broken homes, in poverty. See, a young woman who lacked affirmation from her father may unconsciously gravitate towards older men who carry authority, who have affluence, who carry reassurance. And on the other hand, a young man who lacked nurturing, from a maternal figure may gravitate towards older women who provide emotional grounding. Now, this is not weakness, but marriage cannot be therapy. If you marry someone to repair your childhood trauma or even, then you'll eventually discover that you married a mirror of your wound. And wounds, if not healed properly, demand repayment later in life. So the real issue is not, are they happy today? The real issue is, why did they choose each other? Was it from a vision, from alignment, from shared destiny, from spiritual rhythm? Or was it for purposes of safety, status, ego, financial security, fear of being alone, fear of aging, fear of missing out? Was it for validation? Because what you choose from determines what you must maintain in your later life. If you choose from insecurity, then you must keep feeding insecurity. If you choose from ego, you must keep feeding your ego. But if you choose from clarity and foresight or even insight, then you build something that is sustainable. Let's leave theory. Let's talk about timeliness. Let's talk about seasonality of love. In Kenya, many people marry in their late 20s and early 30s. That has been the trend. Some in their early 40s, some even much later. Now imagine this. Imagine a 28-year-old woman marrying a 62 or even 73-year-old man. Now, today it may feel beautiful because he's stable financially, he's wise, he's got experience, he's attentive to your needs, he's financially secure. But let's try and calculate this. When she's 38 and he's, let's say, 72, when she's 48, then he'll be 82 years. Now, when she's 55, he may no longer be alive. He may be gone. Now, he may have kicked the bucket. Now ask yourself, has she calculated widowhood? Has she calculated caregiving? Has she calculated the emotional loneliness in midlife, during her midlife crisis? This is not negativity. This is not negativity. This is wisdom. This is projection, because Jesus said that sit down fast and count the cost before you build your altar. Now, counting the cost means you mentally visit and revisit the future, your future, before you sign the covenant, before you enter into a covenant. See, that is noble, but was it chosen knowingly? If you choose that path consciously, it is honorable. But if you entered blindly, it can have a very heavy toll on your life. In the spirit, for instance, timing matters. Timing matters in the spirit. That's why the book of Ecclesiastes says that to everything there's a season, a time for every purpose under the heavens. So marriage is not just about love. It's about a shared season. If one partner is in, for instance, in a planting season and the other is in a harvesting season, there'll automatically be friction. If one is still discovering identity and the other is preserving a legacy, there'll be imbalance. So two people can love each other deeply and still be out of rhythm, out of emotional rhythm, out of sexual rhythm. And even conversational rhythm, and rhythm matters. Communication may no longer flow. Rhythm matters. This is not about condemning anyone. It is about awareness. Because many people do not suffer in marriage because of sin. They are forced into sin because they did not calculate the costs. They suffer because they did not calculate, even count the cost of building the tower. In this case, marriage is a tower. But they did not foresee. They just experienced love then. They did not project. And wisdom is simply this. Wisdom is the ability to visit the future before it arrives. The ability to see your future before it manifests. That is wisdom. And avoiding mistakes of the future. Now, even troubles of the future, sorry. So let me say this clearly to you. Age gap is not automatically wrong. If it was, Scripture would have banned it. But Scripture does not regulate everything by rule. It doesn't. Some things are just regulated by maturity, by your conscience, by wisdom. So but now, let me also talk about when age gap can work. When does it work? First, when both are whole, when both are not searching for repair. For instance, if a 35-year-old marries a 50-year-old and both are emotionally stable, they are clear about having children or even not having children, they are clear about their health, they are clear about retirement, they are clear about their expectations, then trust me, it can work. But if one chooses to enter into marriage in such an instance just to escape poverty, and the other chooses to escape aging, then you see there's a misalignment of expectation. Then it becomes a silent transaction. And marriage must not be a transaction. Marriage must not be a rescue mission. It must be a partnership that you enter into from clarity of expectations. It can also work when seasons match, when your seasons match. when seasons match can also work even when age does not. So two people can be 12 to 15 years apart and still be in the same season. They may have both ambitions, but they may both be energetic, they may both be spiritually hungry or even emotionally intelligent. They may both be building. But if one, like for instance in the case of Ruth and Boaz and Ruth in the Bible, but if one is in acceleration and the other is in preservation, then tensions may grow. Marriage thrives on shared rhythm, not shared birthdays. Now, another thing, it can also work when conversations are brutally honest about your expectations. See, many couples, avoid uncomfortable topics. They may talk about wedding plans, building a home, building a life together, but they may talk even about photo shoots, even the wedding venues, the cake, but avoid sensitive topics like their fertility windows, their health history, their retirement plans, even their sexual expectations. They may avoid topics like planning for death, inheritance, even such a sensitive conversation. Now, if you cannot talk about death before marriage, then you're not ready for covenant. Because covenant means that I have thought through about my life with you and without you, and I still choose you. See, that is maturity. That is what we call maturity. So, to the young in Kenya, my advice is do not rush into security, because security feels powerful when you're 25, but when you clock the age of 40, you will want companionship and not security, not sponsorship. So ask yourself, am I choosing a partner or am I choosing stability? Now, to the older generation, do not marry to feel young again. Do not marry to feel restored. Do not marry to restore your admiration. Do not marry for validation. Youth is not restored by admiration. It is restored by purpose. If you choose someone young, then ensure you're not choosing validation in the society. Ensure you're not choosing validation. Ensure you're not caught up in a situation where you have to prove all the time that you're not wrong when you entered into such a marriage. I mean, to prove people that you're still young, don't do that. Choose alignment. Go for alignment. See, the danger of extreme age gap is not that they are sinful. No. The danger is this. You may wake up one day and realize you married someone who is kind, yeah, but not in your season. Someone who is loving, but not in your rhythm. Someone who is faithful, but not in your pace. And then life will begin to feel like you are constantly adjusting, constantly explaining yourself to people, constantly trying to justify why you made a decision to marry him or her. Or you're constantly adjusting instead of advancing. So what is the answer? See, the answer is not never marry older. The answer is not never marry younger. The answer is, are we in the same energy season? Are we in the same destiny season? Are we in the same sexual season? Are we in the same psychological season? Are we in the same spiritual hunger season? Now, if the answer is yes, then the number of years may not matter much. But if the answer are far apart, then love will feel like work instead of law.